This practice is intended to get you a little deeper into poses, to relax and open up your hips. So I'm wearing a comfy sweater, some socks, make sure you're nice and warm. And then if you do warm up a bit, you can just take some layers off. We're going to start in a seated posture as I am right now. So just sitting cross-legged, whichever way is most comfortable for you, bringing your hands onto your knees, maybe closing your eyes or just bringing your gaze forward. Just take a few breaths. So visualize your inhalation starting at the base of your spine. And as you slowly breathe in, feel yourself grow taller. So the breath goes from the base of your spine to the crown of your head. And as you exhale, just allow your body to soften. So let the shoulders relax. The elbows can feel heavy by your side. And feel like your hips are sinking down into the ground. And just taking a couple more breaths this way at your own pace. Just the intention of slowing down your breath. So if you feel like your heart rate is a little elevated, just paying attention to that. Breathe and try to relax. Take another deep, full breath in. 3, 2, and 1. Exhale fully. If your eyes are closed, you can open them. Start to walk your hands forward as far as you can come over the legs to fold. So it is potentially first thing in the morning for you. If coming all the way down doesn't feel good, just stay up a little bit higher, but sort of try and find an edge where you feel a bit of discomfort, but not pain. And you want to sort of allow your body to go a little further than it's used to push that edge so we can see change. And then allow your head to heavy or soften down. If you can get your forearms or elbows down, maybe bend your elbows and you can rest your head in your hands. We'll be taking anywhere from 5 to 10 breaths in each posture. Allow yourself to make any adjustments in the pose when you need to. So if you're sitting here and your knees bothering you or your hip, don't just sit through it, just try and adjust. But if it's just discomfort and not pain, try and sit with that. We're going to take that breath in for a count of 3, 2, 1. Exhale fully. Let your hands come down or just let your body sink as much as you can, almost like someone's pushing down on you. Go as low as you can, let your head heavy as much as you can, and then slowly come back up to sit. And we're just going to go over to that right leg and sort of do the same thing. So a deep breath in, and then slowly begin to fold over that right side. Your hands can come down. Maybe you're up here. Okay. If you want a little bit more, the right hand or right forearm will stay down, so either one. The left hand can start to sort of push that left side away a little bit. Try to keep both hips rooted or grounded down into your mat. If your feet start to fall asleep, maybe wiggle them or readjust. Then you're welcome to close your eyes and just listen. Listen to the sounds that are around you, or just listen to your breath. Just allowing yourself to relax a little bit more. In that same way, you can let your head heavy. Just taking tension out of the neck and the shoulders. And last breath in. Full breath out. On the last exhale that you take before coming out of the pose, just try and sink a little deeper. Try to set that as an intention through your practice, and then come up, inhale. And soften the shoulders. We'll switch sides. Go over to that left side. Deep breath in. And again, start to walk the hands, maybe lower down onto just hands or forearms if you can get there. Try not to force it or rush it in any way, but again, trying to find an edge, going a little bit deeper. So you want to be able to feel sensation and feel a stretch, not just sort of sit in a pose. For some of you, it might be going a lot deeper than this. The right hand can then rest or press that right leg away. So you might be feeling it in the side body, you might be feeling it in the hip. Generally, when we move into something, you feel it where you're tightest, where there's the most amount of tension in your body. Just listening to your breath, maybe close the eyes. Check in with your jaw, open and close your mouth, and see if you're clenching or holding tension in your face. Try and soften the forehead and the eyes. See if you can go a little bit deeper. So maybe that left arm extends and you soften all the way down, resting your chin on your knee. For some of you, you might be here. Just being okay with wherever you are. Last breath in. Again, that exhalation, we go deeper. So exhale, last time we sink nice and low. And inhale, coming back up. Good, so you're gonna cross your legs the opposite way. So the other leg or foot will go in front. It might feel a little funny because you're probably not used to sitting that way, but just allow yourself a moment to settle. And then we're gonna take the arms nice and wide. And the right arm will go under the left arm, like you're giving yourself a little hug. You can hold on to your opposite shoulders. And start to lean forward, drawing your elbows towards the ground, or if that's too much, round the spine, tuck the chin. If you want a little bit more, start to walk the hands towards each other, just taking those eagle arms. The elbows come up, the shoulders draw back, the chin lowers, you soften the neck. And then again, you can come forward. These are all suggestions. Figure out which one works best for you today. Might be different tomorrow. Couple big breaths. Each exhalation sinking a little bit deeper. Think about creating space. If your bum starts to come up off the floor, try to draw your hips down. Maybe engage your core to help. Let's take 2 more breaths. I'll give you those 3 counts so you can really focus on relaxing, slowing down the heart. 1, 2, 3 on the inhale, and just allow that exhale to pour out. And 1, 2, 3, and let that breath go. Really sink on that exhale, slowly unwind and come all the way back up to sit. Roll the shoulders back, inhale, exhale, down the back. And arms nice and wide again. The left arm under the right. And begin to soften. So you can, again, hold opposite shoulders or bring the hands towards each other. And whichever way is best for you, start to either roll the spine, just kind of sinking here. So you can get hips in, your shoulders stretching out, coming forward if that feels better. So we're looking for the most amount of sensation where you kind of feel a bit like you're crawling in your skin. It's a little challenging to hold there, so that's when we tap into the breath. Tap into breathing so you can focus on that, and exhaling to release the tension. Check in with the jaw, muscles of the face, the shoulders. You should feel like a sensation of melting on the exhale. Your body's melting, tension's melting away. We'll go for that 3 count breath for the last 2. Inhale for 1, 2, 3. Exhale fully. Inhale for 1, 2, 3. And again, exhale fully. Sink, 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 sink. If you want, you can unwind the arms and really stretch out. Let the head come down, little wiggle, and walk back up. Good, and hands onto the knees. Inhale, roll the shoulders up. Exhale, roll the shoulders back. Good. We're going to stretch the legs out in front of us. So maybe sitting towards the center of your mat. Get your legs out nice and long. And maybe wiggle the toes, roll the ankles out, just to allow blood flow back into the legs after sitting cross-legged. Good. And then we're going to bring the soles of the feet together with the knees wide. But first you're going to take your hands behind you, fingertips pointing away. Push down into the ground, lift your bum, tilt your pelvis. So the tailbone's scooping under towards the heels. And then lower the hips back down. And see if you can turn the fingertips the other way and maybe come down onto the forearms. And then focus on opening, widening up through the hips, and then pulling that tailbone towards the heels, drawing your navel in towards your spine. Relax the shoulders. Put a little bit of engagement into your core. Tongue twisted today. We'll take 3 more breaths. 1, 2, 3, and we'll come back up to seated. You're going to tilt your pelvis the opposite way this time. Plant the hands, lift your bum up, and then shoot your bum back a bit if you can. So it should feel like the tailbone is coming up and back, and your pubic bone's drawing down towards the ground. So if you're really tight, the knees might be up here. You might be sort of crouching. If this is the case, soften the shoulders, relax into the neck. Okay, you can place pillows or blocks under the knees if you need to. Good. So wiggling back a little bit to find that space. You can take your hands onto your feet and just start to open your feet up like a book. So you want to try and spread the toes, open up through the feet. You can even give yourself a little massage, sliding your thumbs through the center of your foot. And then sitting up tall, and then start to bring your heart, your chest towards your toes. So instead of rounding and trying to get your head down to the ground, you're looking forward towards the top of your mat, lifting your chest and leaning forward. Okay. Not an easy pose for most. So if you're not going super deep into this, again, look for sensation, look for that edge, breathe into it. And notice, you breathe in, you're creating sort of a lifting sensation, or you have more air in the lungs, you kind of lift up a little bit. As you exhale, sink down, and inhale, exhale. So don't feel like you have to force it and kind of pop up and down. So let your body do this naturally. Keep opening up the feet. They might be glued together. Just start to find that mobility, open up. And we'll take about another 5 breaths. So if you want to, you can take the arms out if they can make it there. And now allow your body to settle. So let your head rest or relax. You can bend the elbows and again bring your head into your hands. If you have a pillow resting on there. Good. For 5. 4. 3. 2. 'Full exhale, commit to sinking down, exhale, and slowly walk the hands back. And grab the backs of your knees, guide the legs back together, stretch the legs out. Good, should feel a little crazy. Awesome. Wiggle at the toes, maybe move those ankles. Good, so we're gonna come over to hands and knees, so your tabletop position. Your hands under your shoulders and your knees beneath the hips. You get around the spine, tuck the chin, look towards your navel. Little rock forward and back. We'll take the opposite direction. Let your tailbone lift up, your chest lift up. Roll the shoulders back for your cow pose. Maybe again, a little bit of rocking. And come down onto your forearms. We'll take Sphinx pose. So you're going to come from here onto your belly. So whatever works for you. You can take a second in a forearm plank if you want. And then lower the hips down. Releasing the tops of the feet. So it should almost feel like you're pulling yourself forward in this pose. So you're gripping with the hands, you're pulling your chest forward, and it's lifting up. And then let your head relax so there's a long line on the back of your neck. Okay, so we're not crunching the head back or letting it hang too much, but you're drawing up nice and long. So you're kind of gazing towards the thumbs. You can engage the legs, pressing into the tops of feet, and try to let the hips feel heavy. As you breathe in, pushing the belly out. As you exhale, now draw your navel in, and then hold that bit of contraction and continue breathing. Okay, last breath in, full breath out. You're going to bring the hands towards each other and then widen the elbows out. And so we start to come down onto the chest. That right leg's going to swing out to the side. And then you're going to rest your head down, either your forehead down or you're going to turn to a side. Okay? I'm going to take a couple of breaths here. Just let your hips sink down. Two more breaths. One. And come back onto your forearms, but keep your right leg as it is. And if you're able to, come in here. Continue to sink the hips. You should feel it a little bit more here. And if you need to, draw the foot in closer or slide the knee down a little bit if it feels like too much. Or really just adjust, play around with it. And if you want just a little bit more, push into the hands and straighten the arms for the last two breaths. One. And two. Just lower the elbows. Slide that right leg to meet the left. You rock from side to side. We're going to widen the elbows again, bring the palms together, slide that left leg out, and release your forehead or your head down, turning your head to the side. And so again, about 5 breaths or so. And feel your belly pressing into the ground as you inhale. And feel your body sink down as you exhale. We have 2 more breaths. 1, 2. Good. Coming back up to your hands and forearms. Again, sink the hips down and forward. Roll the shoulders back. Again, that length through the back of the neck. Think about pulling that left hip down towards the ground. The last 2 breaths, if you want a little bit more, push up, straightening the arms for 1, 2, and lower down onto the forearms. Slide that left leg back to meet the right. And we're going to press up into a narrow leg child's pose. So that means the knees are together, the feet are together. Coming down onto forearms, you can slide the hands back, maybe let your head come down towards the ground. Good. If your head doesn't touch and it's floating like mine, you can stack the hands. If you feel any bit of pinching, take the knees a little bit wider. And a few more breaths. And come back up into your tabletop. We're We're going to take some circles with the hips, so move the hips left to right. And we'll go the opposite way, right to left. And then just to a neutral spine. We're going to step the right foot between the hands. Then you're going to start to shift your weight back a bit. So the left hip stacks the left knee. We want to flex the right foot. So depending on the length of your leg, you might have to pull that right heel forward a little bit to be able to come into a half split. The hands can maybe come down to the ground. If you're really tight, you might want to place your hands on something. You can also keep a bit of a bent knee here. Okay. We want to pull our chest towards the big toe. So you inhale, then exhale, sink down as far as you're comfortable going. If you can plant the palms, try and do that. And let your head heavy. So whether they're planted on the ground or on a block or stack of books. Think about pulling the right hip back, left hip forward, and squeezing the inner thighs towards each other. That right foot is flexed, the toes pulling towards you. So if you're feeling a pretty deep sensation, the back of the leg, the back of the knee here, and it's feeling good, don't bother moving at all. Just continue sinking into that. If you do want to go a bit further, you want to come into a full split, good if you have a pair of socks on, you can roll your mat towards you and actually just slide the heel forward. I always find it easier to do that. Good. Coming towards a full split. So it doesn't mean you have to go into a full split. As you can see, I'm not in a full split, but moving towards it, as long as you feel supported in the hands. If you go there and you regret it, instantly come back into the other posture or sink out of it just a little bit. Okay, you never want to go somewhere that makes it look like you just bit into a lemon. Face is all contorted because you've gone too far. So find a balance in between. We'll take 2 more breaths. 1. Good. So depending on how far you went into this, find whatever way is best for you to get out of it. I like to walk my hands to the opposite side, bring a bit of weight there, and then swing the opposite leg back. So in this case, the right leg. Okay. As you do the other side, you're going to step the left foot between your hands. You plant the hands, shift the weight back, guide the left heel forward, we flex the foot. Good. Either plant the palms up on fingertips, blocks, books, pull your chest towards your big toe, inhale, and exhale, start to sink down. And that right hip is pulling forward, left hip is drawing back, we're squeezing the inner thighs towards each other. You can push into the top of that right foot. You'll feel a little bit more of a sensation doing that as well. And pulling that left heel towards you like you're trying to draw the hip back or your femur back into your hip socket. The longer you stay in a posture, your body will start to allow you to go deeper. Maybe bend the elbows slightly to go deeper. Doesn't mean you have to come down onto forearms, but just find a little more space. If you see yourself kind of pulling out of it, try to breathe back into it. Staying focused on where you're feeling it most. And again, staying here if this is enough for you. Or trying to come into a deeper split. Okay. So we want to avoid really opening the hips up here as far as like pulling the right hip back, and try to keep them a little more square. The right hip still continues to draw forward. And maybe softening the elbows, sinking down. Again, if it's too much, come out of it slightly. We'll take 5 breaths. 4. 3, 2, last big breath in. Remember on the exhale, we go a bit deeper. inhale to come up. Good. Whatever way is easiest for you to come out of this posture, slowly take your time. Swing that left leg back. And we're going to come back to seated. So you can cross your ankles behind you, roll over your feet, or simply swing the legs out in front of you. And we're going to take the right foot to the inner left thigh. Your hands are framing that left leg. Pull the left hip back slightly. Push that right leg down. Take a deep breath in. With your left hand, you're reaching towards the left foot. You might be here. Maybe hold the back of the knee. Slight bend in the knee, coming chest to thigh, or a little bit deeper, all the way down your nose towards your knee. And if you want a bit more and that right leg is coming down towards the ground, take your palm over the top of your foot and wrap around towards the inside. Opposite right hand will cross over top, so you're creating a cross between the hands. And then as you pull yourself in, the elbows widen, your head goes between the elbows, and you draw down. That right arm is drawing down, left arm is kind of pulling up, creating resistance. Going a bit deeper. And so whichever one feels best. We'll hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, good, last one. Again, the exhale, really commit to sinking down into the pose as far as you can. You can even reach your arms as far as you can past your foot. And sink and start to walk back up. Okay, so we're going to bend the left leg. The foot will go on the ground. Your hands might go behind you, but take the right ankle and bring it across that left thigh. And you can take the hands through, thread through the leg, maybe holding onto the shin or bringing it even a little bit closer. Try and sit up tall, so we're bringing our chest towards our foot. So you might be all the way down here, or maybe not even bringing the leg up, okay? So just finding what works for you. Good. So find that place where you can hold this. If all of those options don't work at all and your knees are really bothering you, taking it to the wall is helpful. If you're good where you are, stay there. Otherwise, if you come to the wall, the left foot would then be on the wall, the right ankle across the thigh, and you can kind of hang out here or with a straighter leg. Okay, so just allowing yourself to be where you are and finding a modification that works for you to be able to be in this posture. And I'm going to stay here because it's nice to lay down. We're going to count 3 more breaths. 1, 2, good, and then 3. And so whether you're lying down or sitting, unwind the legs and stretch them out nice and long. If you're on the wall, you're going to come back up to seated. So our legs are stretched out in front of us. And this time we're taking the left foot to the inner right thigh. Okay. We're peeling the left leg open. Right hand reaches towards the right foot. Sit up tall. Inhale, chest to big toe, and fold. Exhale. And so the option to take that right hand to the inside of the right foot, so we're crossing over that center. Left arm reaches across, elbows widen, forehead or your head goes through towards the knee. And if we're going that deep into the pose, make sure that this left leg isn't lifting up, and we're kind of trying to get ourselves into it by contorting our body into weird sort of shapes. So if you're feeling it sitting here, then just sit here. One day you might be down there, or not. 3 more breaths. 1, 2, the deepest breath in. Slide the hands, go a lot further, or even just reach here or reach forward, go deeper. Good. Hold and release and sit up tall. We bend the right knee. Hands can come behind you, left ankle onto that right thigh. Good. Maybe we're back here or pushing forward. Or again, you can thread through. Thread through and grab onto this leg. So it would be your right leg. And also bring it back to the wall. There's a bunch of options working into whatever feels best for you. Try to keep this top foot active and flexed. So basically the ankle kind of comes to the thigh or off the thigh instead of it sickling in. Good. So open up here, pull the chest high. Good. Or make your way to the wall. Shoulders are creeping up. Pull them back. Relax the jaw. Exhale. Soften the eyes. And be here. 5 more breaths. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. And if you're on the wall, start to unwind the legs, stretch. If you're sitting, unwind the legs as well, and stretch them out. A little wiggle of the toes, move through the ankles. If you could shake at the legs. Okay. And then we'll just come to easy pose, so seated cross-legged with your hands on your knees. Just take a few breaths, just to sort of recenter, reset. And maybe tilt your head from side to side, or if you want to do some neck rolls. Yeah, so just mentally preparing for the deep frog pose that's coming. So you'll come onto your hands and knees, facing the long side of your mat. And I like to roll my mat in so I can create some cushion for my knees. And you'll sort of adjust this as you need to. What I want you to remember is that we don't want the hips all the way back to the heels, and we don't want our hips all the way forward onto the ground. So I'll show you, but when you get to your knees, you want to make sure they're sort of in line with the pelvis. So this will be adjusted accordingly. So you'll bring your knees to either side, so you're going a little bit wider here. Okay. So what we want to try and do is flex and open the feet up. Now, depending on your ankles, you may or may not be able to do that, but if you can, try to get here. And so if my heels are together beneath me, then I can bring my bum all the way down to my heels and sort of sit like this. It's not what I want. So we want to take the feet wide. So you have knee and then your ankle. Your shins about parallel to the short edges of your mat. So if I push back, I can't actually bring my bum back. My knees are in line with my hips, okay? If I'm all the way forward like this, and my knees are forward from my hips, then you need to bring your knees in closer together and readjust. But we want sort of that sitting right above the knee or in line with the knee. And then maybe coming down onto those forearms, okay? And then from here, you can sink, letting the head sink down. So what happens a lot of times is people get comfortable or relaxed in this pose and they kind of come forward onto their belly. So if I were to look from above, I would see that my knees are way behind my hips. And now I'm just kind of relaxing here, not really feeling too much. Okay. If you want to do that, that's totally fine. But if you want to stretch your hips out, we want to take the hips back and relax on those forearms. Okay. So this one should feel a little challenging to sit in. And if it's not, then you need to kind of position yourself. So there's a bit of intensity in the posture. And we really want to get into those deep areas of tension and release. We find the most amount of opening, space, increase our flexibility. And then we just breathe. So we're going to do 10 breaths. So make sure you're nice and cozy. And we'll hold for 5. I'll count 5 up, then 5 down. 4. 3. 2. you're breathing slower or faster than me, it's fine. You might do 12 breaths or 6 breaths, but we're going for about my 10 breath count, and wherever you land, that works as well. And so maybe 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, last breath. Then remember that exhale, we sink down. So if your hips can stay where they are, and you can maybe widen the elbows and sink your chest down towards the ground. Exhale. Good, and come back up. So this is when you can come forward to come out of it, or whatever way works for you. Good, and we'll come back to seated. You might be moving really slow to get out of that. That's okay. Good. We're going to come all the way down onto our backs. Just for now, maybe stretch the legs out towards the corner edges of your mat. Good. And come down. If you can roll down comfortably, go ahead. Otherwise, hold the back of the knees. Maybe roll yourself down. Get a little squeeze. And then extend those legs out. So again, heels towards the corner edges of your mat. Maybe give your hips a little wiggle. Good. Take the arms wide, or as wide as you can if you don't have a wall in the way. And we're just going to take a couple of breaths here. Big breath in. If you're feeling it, open your mouth, let the breath go. Just decompress. Again, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Wiggle the toes, walk your feet up your mat. We're going to bring the knees over to the right side, so you can just let them fall over, or you can bring the knees up in line with the hips. Bringing your right hand to rest on the knees. Lift the shoulder blades and then reset them. Look over the left shoulder. If you want a bit more, you can cross that top left leg over the bottom right. Or you can bring the top or the right foot over top of the left leg. Okay? So whatever feels best. Inner twist. Pull the navel in, so we're drawing the belly in. Try to relax into it with every exhale. The left shoulder's pulling away from the left knee. See if you can think of pulling the left rib cage down towards the ground, right rib cage rolling up towards the ceiling. And if you're able to, close your eyes. Notice where you're still holding on to tension and just let it go. Relax your jaw, relax your legs. Take a long, slow, deep breath in for 3, 2, 1. Full exhale. Let your body relax. Let go of any tension or holding patterns. And slowly begin to unwind. Again, let your knees tip from side to side like windshield wipers. And then readjust. Lift the chest, replace the shoulders, bring the feet together, let the knees tip towards the left, or bring the knees up in line with the hips. Maybe cross that right leg over the left, or left foot on top of the right thigh. Look over to that right side. And if you feel that right shoulder lifting up off the ground, push into the hands, try and lift the shoulders up and replace them down. If they're floating a bit, that's fine. Again, we're just looking for stretching, a sensation, not for the pose to look a certain way, but to be able to sit in it and feel a stretch. And sort of that place between it feeling really good and also allowing yourself to kind of sit in something that might be a little on the edge of discomfort. That's where change occurs. Okay, close your eyes if you can. Three. 2. Trying to really slow each breath down. And this last breath we hold for 3, 2, or breathe in for 3, 2, 1. Fully exhale, relax the body completely. So we'll be coming out of this. Slowly start to unwind. Squeeze your knees in towards your chest. And as you hold on to the knees, start to move them in circles. They're moving away from each other, so big hip rotations. And then opposite direction, knees in and around. Hug the right leg in, kick the left heel towards the sky. So you slowly lower the left leg down, lift your head and shoulders off the ground, drawing your nose towards your knee. Stay long in the left leg. And lower the left heel down. Your right leg might move away from you a little bit. Okay. The left hand will hold on to the outside of the right knee. Your right arm extends out to the side. And then lower your head down and we'll twist. Try to bring the right hips to stack the left hip. Don't worry about the knee coming down to the ground. Just think about stacking and keeping the right shoulder down. Good. For 3. Pull the navel in. 2. Good. Last breath. You can use that left hand to encourage a little deeper. Twist, exhale. And back to center. Squeeze that right leg in. We're going to open it up to the right side. Okay? So you can hold on to it. You might be able to take the leg down. So if I bring my leg down, my knee's floating, my foot's just on the ground. So I'd rather just hold it and try and peel the knee open. And then that right foot kind of lifts up and stays in line with everything. But if the left hip's coming up, try and encourage it back down. If you want a little more and it feels okay, you can grab onto the foot and then try to extend the leg nice and long without the left hip coming up. So we have to stay active and engaged in the legs. And for 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and bend your knee, draw it back in, little squeeze, pull the left leg in as well. And roll around a little bit if you need to, just to readjust. And we're going to hug the left leg in, extend the right heel to the sky. As the right leg draws down, you lift your head and shoulders off the ground, drawing your nose towards your knee. Stay long into that right leg, shoulders away from the ears. And 3, 2, and 1. So the right hand stays to the outside of the left leg, left arm out to the side. Lower your head and shoulders down. Lift and stack that left hip over the right. Okay, so we want to keep the torso down, moving in the opposite direction. So left shoulder away from the left leg. Good. For 3. And you can press down on your exhale, encourage a bit more of a twist. 2. Okay, last one. And slowly drawing back to center, give that leg a little squeeze. And then we open up to the left side. Right hand on that right hip, encourage it down. And try to keep that left leg all in one, sort of playing your heel, your knee, and your hip without the foot moving down. We don't want the hip to rotate in. Good. And either staying here or grab hold of your foot and stretch the leg long. If you happen to have a wall, it's great, because the wall will hold your leg for you. Good. Try to keep the right hip down. Relax the head and shoulders. Good for 3, 2, last breath. In and out. Good. Bend your knee, slowly coming back towards center. Bring your feet to the floor, tipping your knees from side to side like windshield wipers. Good. Try to get nice and comfortable. Make any little adjustments that you need to. And start to stretch the legs all the way out. Hands out to the side or arms out to the side. We'll take a couple breaths here. Slowly begin to walk your feet up your mat. Squeeze your knees in towards your chest, and we're going to reach up and take happy baby pose. So feet or hands to the outer edges of the feet. Stack your feet over top of the knees, and then we pull down. Let the head and shoulders rest down. Okay, so you might have to hold the backs of the knees or the ankles if you can't come all the way into this. Good. Maybe bringing the soles of feet together. Lift your head, bring your nose towards your toes. And then release down. Feet to the ground, knees wide, arms out. We'll take 3 breaths. Good, and we'll stretch out into Shavasana, heels towards the outer edges of the mat. Good. I'm going to leave you here to take as much time as you'd like in Shavasana. It is time for me to go. My baby's crying. Okay, nap time's over. I hope you enjoyed your practice today. Thank you so much for sharing it with me. Namaste. I'm coming, Margot.